The sun rose gently over the village of Amaka, painting the skies in hues of orange and pink. Birds chirped softly as the early morning breeze carried the scent of fresh dew and blooming hibiscus flowers. The village, nestled between hills and a river, had a rhythm of life that moved slowly, like a song passed down through generations. It was in this village that a young girl named Nia lived. Nia was 13 years old, quiet and curious. She lived with her parents in a modest mud-brick home with a thatched roof. Her days were spent helping her mother cook meals, fetching water from the river, and listening to the stories told by the elders under the baobab tree. But what she loved most was visiting her grandmother, Mama F. Mama F was a respected elder in the village. Her hair, once black as the night sky, was now silver and coiled like the riverbank's roots. Her skin was a map of time, marked with gentle wrinkles and tribal tattoos. Every evening, she would sit on a wooden stool by her hut and tell stories about the old days, about the gods, the land, and the spirits of the ancestors. One warm evening, just before the Harmattan winds were due, Mama F called Nia to her side. With trembling hands, she reached into a small carved wooden box and pulled out a set of traditional beads. They were beautiful red, gold, and deep blue, strung together with what looked like ordinary twine, but which shimmered faintly in the twilight. She placed the beads in Nia's hands and told her that they had been passed down through their family. For generations, these were not ordinary beads, Mama F said. They held the stories, the strength, and the spirits of their ancestors. She instructed Nia to wear them always and listen closely to the feelings they brought her. Nia nodded, though she didn't understand. She wore the beads that night and every day after. At first, nothing changed. But one night, as she lay under her woven mat staring at the stars through the holes in the roof, she felt warmth around her neck. The beads glowed faintly, and suddenly, she was no longer in her room. She stood in the middle of a vast forest. The air was heavy with the scent of rain and earth. Ahead of her was a young woman, fierce and tall, wearing the same beads. The woman was leading a group of villagers through the forest. They moved with purpose, carrying baskets of seeds and tools. Nia realized she was seeing the past. This woman was one of her ancestors, and she was leading her people to a new home. After a flood had destroyed their village, the vision faded as quickly as it had come, and Nia was back under her mat, her heart pounding. Over the weeks, more visions came. Each night, when she wore the beads and closed her eyes, she saw different ancestors: a hunter who protected the village from wild beasts, a healer who cured sickness with herbs and chants, a warrior who stood against invaders to protect the people. And always, they wore the same beads. With each vision, Nia felt stronger. She began to understand the weight and power of her heritage. She started asking questions about the past, about her family, about the land. Her grandmother smiled knowingly and guided her with quiet words in old songs. Then one day, trouble came. Amaka, a company from the city arrived, saying they wanted to build a factory near the river. They promised jobs, schools, and money. But the elders were wary. The river was sacred. It fed their crops, gave them water, and was the source of many old stories. If the river was harmed, the village would suffer. The villagers were divided. Some wanted the jobs, others wanted to protect their land. Tensions grew. The elders met under the baobab tree, but no agreement was reached. It was then that Nia, guided by her visions and the power of the beads, stood before the elders. She told them of what she had seen, of the ancestors who had walked the land before them, who had suffered and fought to protect it. She reminded them that the beads she wore were not just ornaments but a call to remember. She spoke with wisdom beyond her years, her voice steady and clear. She told them the river was not just water but bloodline, a link between the past and the future. The elders listened. The people listened, and slowly, the village turned against the plan. They rejected the company's offer and chose instead to preserve their land and find other ways to grow. It was not an easy path, but it was. Nia became known not just as a girl with beads, but as a bridge between generations. She continued to learn, to lead, and to listen. Her visions continued, and with each one, she felt her ancestors guiding her steps. Years passed, and Nia grew into a wise woman. She taught the children about the beads, the river, and the spirits of the land. She kept her grandmother's stories alive and added her own. The beads, once worn by many, had found their way to her, not by chance but by destiny. They had shown her that the past was not something to forget but something to learn from. That strength comes not from power but from understanding that the land is not just soil but soul. The story of Nia and the beads teaches us that our roots are powerful. Our ancestors, their struggles, and their stories shape who we are. Sometimes, in a world that moves too fast, we forget to listen to the voices of the past. But wisdom, purpose, and strength often lie in where we come from. The land we walk, the stories we inherit, and the traditions we carry are not burdens but gifts. In honoring them, we find ourselves. True destiny is not about running away from where we come from, but about understanding and embracing it. Our history, no matter how simple, is filled with power. if we learn to listen to it. Thank you for watching. We hope you were inspired by the journey of legacy, courage, and self-discovery in Beads and Bloodlines. This powerful tale reminds us that the strength of our roots can shape the future we are meant to live. What did this story mean to you? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear how this story touched your heart. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Tale Story House for more unforgettable stories filled with culture, tradition, and meaning. Tap the notification bell so you never miss a tale that could change the way you see the world. Until next time, remember, your past isn't a burden, it's a bridge to who you truly are. See you in the next story.